I'm just going to run you through my ActiveTarget setup. So I got two HDS12 lives on my boat, one at the bow here, and I've got that networked to the one at the rear. I'm essentially just using a pole to navigate where I'm fishing, so where I'm projecting my transducer. I've got a Rob Payne engineering bracket and mount, and I am essentially just turning that head and pointing it to where I want to fish. I like this more than the transducer on the electric motor because you can independently move it while you're casting. If I'm vertically jigging, which I do a lot of, I can just be jigging with one hand and turning it with the other, and that's the same thing for casting as well. So we'll go down to the unit and I'll just show you just the general settings on how I go about setting up my ActiveTarget. So we'll go from the bare bones. We can restore it back to default mode. So this is what you'll see straight out of the box in the default mode, and it's automatically selected it for 6.1 meters here. So what I'm going to do is actually adjust that. So I like to adjust it manually, and while we're doing that, you can see the bubbles coming up here from the bottom. That's how sensitive ActiveTarget is. You can see the individual bubbles pop up. It's pretty awesome. But moving on, I like to adjust my range of forward and down manually. So I'll go to about 5 meters. And the general rule I've found for the best quality picture is a 3-in-1. So 3 being your 15 meters in this instance, 5 meters being the 1. So that's just the ratio that I find the best for most applications. So we can see here that this is on stock settings. And this is my preferred color palette for this dam that I'm fishing. I'll go into another color palette and the reasons why I choose it over this one. This is the forward mode. This is primarily what I fish with my ActiveTarget. It's got a beam which shoots out forward, down, and a little bit behind the boat, which is fantastic. So this is where the transducer beam is, where that little half sun looking thing is, and then you've got a couple meters essentially behind the boat. So it effectively works as a down view and a forward view, which is why I love it so much. You can see fish coming in from the front, in this instance 15 meters, but even 20 and 25 meters you can see fish swim in quite easily. This is the mode that I like. But let's go back to the menu. This is what it looks like stock out of the box. It's a plug in and play system essentially, so it's pretty idiot proof, to be honest. So as soon as I plugged it in for the first time, I was seeing fish no problem. I'll go through the minute settings that if you do want to play with, and run you through them. But for me, well, it's on auto A3 anyway. I find that actually perfect for the waterway that I'm fishing, so I keep it at that. It depends on the density of the water, what you might have, clutter in the water, algae, runoff, dirty water, that can affect your contrast as well. So we'll leave it at that. And we've got your noise rejection. So noise rejection will just clear up anything in the water, whether you have any other sonars in the water, any electrical interference. This will do well clearing that up. So if we just move it to a target, so we've got this little mark here, so you can see we'll turn it off. You get a little bit more clutter in there. It's not actually a lot, but if you're a person that wants to get rid of it all, you can see here that we've done that, but it also does reduce the targets a touch as well. So for me, I like to leave it on low. I like to find those minute details, because often that can be the difference of catching a fish and not a fish. And then in your more options here, the color palette. So the color palette for me, I like to keep on number 3. The only other instance I like to change it is when I want a bit more contrast. You can see on this palette here, you got a little bit more of a higher contrast. So when I'm fishing a little bit dirtier water, I find that this palette suits my eyes the best for that separation and finding those bigger targets. But it's personal preference. So I think number 3 for most people probably will be the best. And I leave it on stable view. It's very, very stable in general, but the stable view gives it that little bit more stability. You've also got your stop sonar. So I stop this sonar when I pull it up out of the water, up on my pole setup, just so I can travel and you don't chew your battery. And then you can quickly start it when you're back on there. Another good tip is if you've got a standalone sounder for your ActiveTarget, just put it into standby mode. so you're not chewing as much battery once you're traveling, etc. So let's just bring this back here. And you got a range grid as well. I don't like the range grid, clutters up my screen, but if you're a range grid person, there you go, you can utilize that function. And record video. So if you want to record your screen, you can hit the record button, select the card you want to record it to, and hit record. And it's as simple as red light popping up here showing it's recording, stopping it, and it's stopped, and that will save onto your card. So if you want to get that recording, it's as simple as just going back to your main menu and then going into storage and going into the particular card. So I've got that one at the top, and you can see it's got ActiveTarget. That's the most recent one. Here in the forward mode, date and time. As you can see, there's a big COD great clip here that you'll see later on down the track, but that's how you go back into getting your files off the unit. Bear in mind that what you're seeing here is being processed by the unit and the box that it comes with, and when you take the recordings off, it's not at the exact quality. It's a lesser quality, but it's still a good quality. So if you see something posted about a clip being really, really good, I guarantee you when it's actually on the screen in front of you, it's even better. So just bear that in mind. You can only use a 32 gig card in these units, nothing above, anything below but nothing above. So bear that in mind as well when you're purchasing a card to record your footage. And we'll go into the shallow stuff now, and you can see that it starts to peter off here a little bit. Once you get more shallower than this, that's when you'll introduce your scout mode, just so you can get a bit more of a topography view. But also I find scout mode good for that really shallow stuff. So if you're fishing your flats and it's anywhere from 1 meter to 3 to 4 meters, that's usually my range if I use the scout mode. But primarily I like to use the forward. Like I said, you get a lot of the down range as well, or a couple meters of it, and that's essentially my setup. It's a plug-in and play system, and you can do the same thing as you do on your other sounders as well. You can go in and adjust and add your overlay. So I've got my temperature there, 12.9 degrees. I got 12.5 volts, or 12.4 volts now here, but we won't need to go in and do any of that. To change your mode, just hit mode, select scout, forward or down. There is an auto function, but I like to do it manually. And I'll just pull up the pole itself now and show you how to simply adjust it to a different view. Just unscrew this, and I'm just going to slide it straight up. Okay, I'm just going to lock this off here. I'm going to risk it for the biscuit. I don't want to lose my phone over the side, but I'll give you a closer look. All right, so all we're doing is loosening this knob. We're lining up the notches. That's just 2 clicks from forward to down, and then we're just going to drop this back down, go back over to our unit, and we'll change that to down, and there's your down view. And now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do that for scout view. What you want to do is loosen this knob. You want to put this basically perfectly in line so it's facing forward on that angle, and then you want to undo this knob here and rotate it so it meets the other knob. So that's your scout view. We're just going to drop that down and go back to our screen, and you can see it doesn't look quite right, but as soon as we put down our scout view, you can see we've got the topography view, and we can rotate that, and that's the 3 views. And that's all you really need to know, just to set up your screen. Every dam's different, but for me, Murray cod, golden perch, redfin fishing here, targeting those freshwater species, that's how I go about it. We do also have an ActiveTarget live sonar masterclass June the 7th at 8 PM. Come and join us. If you have any other questions, get them ready. We're going to go through a lot of footage there for you as well. So big Murray cod captures, golden perch, active target recordings, cod recordings, redfin perch. We'll go through a lot of the questions and a lot of content as well. It's likely going to be quite a long one, so settle in, get yourself a beer or late night coffee or whatnot. Hope to see you there. Ask as many questions as you like, and we'll have a good time talking fishing, viewing fishing, and discovering the craze of the new Lowrance ActiveTarget.